So in this video, we're going to take a look at what the standard deviation is and how to calculate it on the TI-84. Okay, so first of all, standard deviation is all about working out how spread out a data set is. So if you take a look at the diagram in front of you, we've got two different data sets illustrated by the frequency polygons. We've got one here, look, okay, and I'm just going over it there in blue. And from this one, comparative to the other one, seems to have data quite squashed together, look, okay? For example, frequency is number of things, number of items. We've got 25 different sixes, right? Okay, we've got lots of things. Now, the smallest value you can see is a 2, and the largest value is a 10, right? Now, one way you've already got to calculate how spread out things are the range, right? The highest value take away the lowest value. So if we were to do this for this one, we can see that 10 take away 2 is going to have a range of 8. Right, now then, let's look at the other one now, right, this dotted set. Well, this one has its data a little bit more spread out, right, okay? We don't have that tightly packed central, like 25 sixes. We've only got around 17 or 18 sixes, okay? So it's a little bit less densely populated, with the lowest value there, look, being 0 and the highest being 12. So using that same way of calculating how spread out they are, we'll just use the range. 12 take away 0 is 12, of course. So that would be our very basic way of saying that that red data set is more spread out than the blue data set. However, this isn't very powerful, and it's not that useful when it comes to real-life applications, so we need something else. So we're going to introduce the standard deviation. Now, this really is about how far away, on average, each point of data is from the mean, the center of the data set, okay? Now, it's got this really difficult formula, okay, and later on you're going to need to learn this, but for this video we're going to be using a calculator to work out the standard deviation, so we won't pay much attention to this. Just to say though that what we have to do is first of all work out our mean, right? And the mean is X bar, right? Okay, we work out that mean and we take each individual piece of data, okay, and there they all are, and we take away the mean from it to work out how far away it is, if you like. But the problem is, if we add those up to work out an average, they'll cancel each other out. We've got negatives and positives. So a little trick we do is we square them to make them all positive. We then divide through by the number of values, a bit like taking an average, and then we are going to be square rooting to undo that squaring. Okay, so that's kind of how it fits together. But we don't need to worry about that in this video. What we're going to do is use our calculators to find standard deviation. So let's jump in, and we've got two data sets here, look, and in the part A, I'm going to show you how to use your TI-84 calculator to find the standard deviation. So nice and simple, right? We've got 5 numbers that we need to find the standard deviation of. So if you open up your calculator, okay, the first thing to do is to get the statistical table up. And to do this, you need to first of all press the Stat button and then just press Enter to get the Edit feature up, and this table will appear. So we're going to input those values, the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, into the first line, right? And you can just type them in and press Enter, and just pay attention to make sure you look up what line the line is that is labeled, and in this case it's L1. So type them in, press Enter after the last one, and we've got our data inputted into your calculator. Okay, after that's been done, we are going to press that Stat button again, but rather than just press Edit, we're not going to do that. You're going to move across to the right, and you're going to find the Calculations menu. And here we've got lots of different features. that are very useful for lots of different reasons, but the one we want today is one variable statistics, and this is going to help us find lots of statistics about your data set, the standard deviation being one of them. Now, we've only got our statistics in one variable. Later we'll look at, in other videos, two variable statistics and scatter diagrams, but just press enter, look, okay, and that is going to bring up this menu. Okay, now the default is as it appears on my screen, but make sure that the list feature is set up with L1. That was exactly the column name that you used when you typed in your table. If you put it in L2, you'll need to change it to L2, and that can be done by hitting that blue button and then finding L2, for example, or L3, right? Okay, so you can input that in there if you need to. Okay, leave the frequency list blank, scroll down until you hit the calculation button and press enter, and then magic will happen and you'll get a list of lots of different pieces of information. Now, lots of these are useful, and if you scroll down, you can see even more. One thing to just make a note of is the mean of this data set is there. Look, you can find that again anytime you need. That's 12. But what we're interested in is the standard deviation, and standard deviation is this one, right? Okay, 1.41 rounded to 3 significant figures. So let's write that down. Okay, the standard deviation is equal to 1.41. Okay, now you followed me doing that. I'd like you to try and do the same thing for these 5 numbers in part B. Pause the video and see how you get on. You should find that in this case, the answer is 5.83. And if you get the same as me, you're doing this right. Okay, now there's one other thing that you need to know, and that is how to work out this standard deviation from a frequency table. Now, let's just be very clear before we start this exactly what this means. So this is about accidents per day, and you've got frequencies, right? Now, this is not paired data. This is telling me, frequency is telling me how many zeros, ones, twos, and so on I have, right? So this table really means I've got 5 zeros, right? And I've got 8 ones, and so on and so on. Then I've got 6 twos, right? But instead of writing all that out, we can just input the table as it comes. So this is what you're going to do. You are going to press the stat button again and press enter to get that edit feature, and you're going to directly input those values into the boxes. Now, the accidents per day, or your X values, the actual numbers themselves, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are going to go in L1. And the frequencies, right? Okay, those are going to go in L2. And it's really important that they match, right? Don't be ever so careful. Make sure the 0 and the 5 and the 1 and the 8 absolutely do match with what was given in the original table, yeah? The 0 goes with the 5, the 1 with the 8. Now, once you've done that and you've inputted it like that, the next thing is almost identical. We're going to press the stat button again, move to the right to find the one variable statistics. But the big difference is that now we do have frequencies, right? So you go and you leave your list as whatever you had last time. So that's probably going to be L1 again. But in that second column, that was L2, were the frequencies. So you're going to need to write in that column. So you press the blue button and then the number with L2, which in this case is a 2, and you make sure that appears, then move down to the calculate button, press enter, and you're going to be able to find it. Our answer here, look, is 1.56. Okay, so our standard deviation is 1.56. Okay, I hope that video has helped you to understand how to find the standard deviation using your TI-84 calculator.